So as far as I'm concerned, and I've been told by FBI agents, I had an FBI agent call me in my office in Glendale and tell me, Jordan, we've been watching you for a long time. We know what you're doing. And as of this moment, this was quite a long time ago, about 12 years ago, but he said, as of this moment, the government, your government, does not consider you to be a threat yet. He said, but we're watching everything you do, everywhere you go, we're watching you. But we don't consider you to be a threat because people are hearing you, but they're not listening. So as long as people are hearing you, then you're all right. But when people start to listen to you, now that's different. Now we're talking politics. And so we'll have to take another look at you then. I have had federal agents talking to me about what I do. I've had FBI people talking to me about what I do. And I've been threatened by federal government. So I know what they can do, and I respect them because they will kill you. In this country, you can be killed. If you know something you're not supposed to know, or if you're talking about subjects you're not supposed to talk about, they will kill you. Now, first of all, they would prefer just putting you in jail, finding some misplaced comma on your income tax and send you away for 30 years. But if that's not going to work, then they'll just kill you.
You all know who NASA is. They're the guys who've lied to you about so many things over the years. The whole Apollo program was just a cover-up because NASA has been on the moon since 1959. You all aware of that? Been on the moon since 1959. John F. Kennedy found out about it, was going to tell the world, and they went, no, you're not going to tell anyone. Boom. Do you know who shot John F. Kennedy, by the way? Would you believe the driver of the car? The first bullet came through and hit him in the back, but the one that blew his head apart was the driver of the car, and you can see it in the footage. Not the footage they originally showed you, which cut the driver out of it, but the original footage that has the driver in it shows this trained secret security guy take his left hand off, put it under his hand like that, and at that moment, Kennedy's head gets blown off and he turns back. You can find that out for yourself. That's just Illuminati. That's the little byproduct for you to throw in there.
And for those of you who always thought that the weapon was a reflection of the sun on Agent Kellerman's head, I want you to notice that in this film, the barrel of the gun sticks out past the back of Kellerman's head by at least 2, maybe 3 inches. There is no doubt it is not a reflection. It is a weapon. William Greer did shoot the president. You can see him bring that weapon up across his chest, turn completely around in the seat, and fire at point-blank range as he's facing directly at the president. Then you can see him bring that weapon back down across his chest. You'll see him hump down, grab the steering wheel, as Agent Kellerman humps down also. And then and only then does the car speed out of the kill zone.
How about the Kennedy assassination, 1963? Also involves 3. An assassin hired to kill an assassin. There were actually 3 shooters, not 1. And in fact, it was triangulated. There was someone in the grassy knoll, yes. There was someone in the tower, which was Lee Harvey Oswald, who actually didn't shoot. And there was also the driver of the car. And if you look at the Zapruder film, and you look closely, and I have a copy of it, you will see the driver of the car leaning around with a gun and shooting the president. And you see the puff of smoke come out of the gun, and you see the president's head go back. He wasn't shot from behind, because then he would go forward. His head was back. And that's why Jackie Kennedy went out the back of the car, because she was getting the hell away from the shooter. She wasn't going towards where the shooting was coming from. That would be stupid. If the shooter was from behind, she would have ducked down. She did. Have you not noticed before she died and for years afterwards, she's drugged out of her mind? I knew people in Manhattan that knew her, and you could not have a conversation with her. She was in la-la land all the time. She was so heavily drugged that it created the illness that killed her finally from the medication.
He's a very powerful man, John Kennedy. Everybody loved him. Handsome, debonair, President of the United States, wealthy, and they shot this guy in public, and nobody went to jail. Nobody's ever going to jail. Why? Because the powers that be that run this country will kill you.
Okay, so just a little something here. The reason, lately I've been seeing all of this, did the mob kill JFK? And, that's perfect. That's just that's exactly what they want you thinking about. That the mob killed JFK. That they were the ones behind it. Him and his brother. Because the same people did JFK and his brother in. Because they were going to tell the world about the new energy sources, alien contact, and everything that was going on. Same reason Marilyn Monroe was killed. Okay? So there's an awful lot of documentation out there now to start proving this. So, yeah, it's very good for them to have something called the mob. The mob did the mob. It's smoke and mirrors. It's the same old juggling act that's always been going on.
If you remember, back a couple of years ago, I think it was 96, the Hale-Bopp comet, and there was a big rumor that said there was actually some big, large object trailing behind it. And at the same time, they came up with this cult figure in San Diego who killed themselves and all the members so that they can fly away to this object behind Hale-Bopp and live an extraordinary life, making anyone who believes in that object look foolish. That cult in San Diego was set up years and years ago. There's actually a movie made about it called He and She. I don't know if any of you have seen that movie. You can go and look it up in the video store. And it's a story about this man who killed himself, Appleby, and his wife who passed on since then, who went around the country claiming to be extraterrestrials, having people give them all of their assets and follow them to West Virginia, where a UFO was going to come and take them off the planet. Of course, somewhere along the line, people lost track of them, and they just vanished into thin air until they reappeared in San Diego. Now, this guy was a CIA operative, and they knew all along what they were planning to do. And most likely, he didn't kill himself, but he was killed. And then probably all the others were killed as well. Now, isn't it strange that in San Diego County, the coroner from Los Angeles had to go and take the bodies from 90 miles away? Why? Oh, he happens to be the same coroner who took Marilyn Monroe's body out of her house a couple of years ago when she was murdered also, because she was having an affair, as you know, with both Kennedy brothers. And the night before her death, she got on the phone, and this is on a tape recording. She said, I'm going to blow all of this sky high. I'm going on a news program tomorrow, and I'm going to tell them all what you've done. She had his notebook. And in the notebook was information about the reptilians and what they really were. And she was going to go on a news broadcast and tell them all what happened. And so, in the middle of the night, an ambulance came to her house, drugged her, took her for a drive, brought her body back, and put it in the bedroom for the maid to find. This was witnessed by a neighbor. She was murdered.
I was just wondering, what are your thoughts on the purpose of President Kennedy's assassination? I just was curious about that. If you had, wondering.
No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. Ooh, man. Okay. I will tell you my perspective on that. Eisenhower told Kennedy about 54. So Kennedy knew, and he told Bobby, obviously. One of the things that happened, and this has been documented through the great work that Dr. Stephen Greer has done with the Disclosure Project, is that most of the extraterrestrial knowledge and technology and exchange of technology went black 3 weeks after Eisenhower knew about it. So he didn't even know where it was. And this has been confirmed by one of his chief of staff, a brigadier general. It's Langdon, I believe it is. Langdon. So he shared all this with John Kennedy. And apparently where they felt the hub of the loss of where this technology had gone and how far it went black was something called the Special Operations Coordinating Group, which is part of the National Security Council. And what's interesting to note is that the first thing John Kennedy did when he took office was sign a presidential directive abolishing the Special Operations Coordinating Group. Now, no one knows exactly who they are, but they're not only connected to the intelligence, but also to all the black programs, to the secret space program, and everything else. There is some conjecture that these people are the governors of the Federal Reserve because they control the money, and it's really all about the money. That's conjecture, though. I don't know for a fact. But what's interesting to note is that they had connections everywhere to everything, because all the intelligence from above would come to them, and then they would decide which information the president was supposed to get. Again, those layers of security clearances. What's interesting to note is after the assassination, the very first thing Johnson did when he got back into the White House was recreate the Special Operations Coordinating Group, now known as Special Group, in the National Security Council. That's my take on it.
That's awesome. But that time during the 60s, of course, there's like, of course, like 4 more. Are they all like just kind of series of random events, or are they all different, like, King and Bobby and, are they just all random occurrences of lone nuts like, James Earl Ray and all those guys in Syria, or are they just a part of that whole thing?
I think that there are programs that overlap all the actions that occur in each country. Yes, there are some lone nuts or individuals that do things. But there's also at the same time an overwhelming amount of evidence that many people have been brainwashed and created to be hitters, to go wet and take out people. So I don't know. But again, let's go back to Operation Paperclip. A lot of the brainwashing and mind control technology that the Germans had been given was brought over here. And they just continued operating here under different names with new passports. So it's a very big, and I don't know all the components, it's a very big question, but on the surface, does it look like it was done on purpose? I mean, look at the individuals, who they were. They were making change. They were creating an awareness. They were behind a very powerful, or the focal point of a very powerful movement for change, to make things happen for the betterment of everybody. Okay? And that's, again, that is the pyramidal power structure. You lop off the head, loss of knowledge, it flounders. Somebody can come in, take control, and move it the other way. Then it doesn't exist. So, okay?
You must understand when you watch this film, ladies and gentlemen, that these are trained Secret Service agents. The only people in that car who did what they were supposed to do was Governor and Mrs. Connolly. They got down on the floor. The driver of the car was not supposed to turn around, nor was he supposed to draw a weapon. He was supposed to get that car out of the kill zone as quickly and as efficiently as possible. The agent in the front seat was supposed to draw his gun, attempt to discover the assassins, and return fire. Neither one of those 2 men did what they were trained to do. Watch now with your own eyes. And remember, if you think that William Greer drew a pistol and turned around and pointed at the president because he heard shots, you also have to understand that it's the job of any other Secret Service man who sees anyone pointing a pistol at the president to shoot him on the spot. No, William Greer killed John F. Kennedy. Well, I guess that really wraps it up. I hope that I have stirred you deeply. I hope that you're upset. I hope that you want answers. I hope that you send a copy of this videotape to your senators, to your congressmen, to the Supreme Court judges, to the Attorney General of the United States, to anyone else that you can think of. please do it. And remember, don't get sidetracked by the Asian tour of the secret government. Remember, Robert Groden, who has a bestseller out on the Kennedy assassination, and who's now trying to tell you that Kennedy was hit simultaneously from the front and the back, is one of those Agent tour. He is the man who, with false credentials, that he was the #1 best independent photo interpretation expert in the world, was hired by the House Select Committee on Assassinations in 1976 to view the Zapruder film and tell the committee what it contained. He blatantly lied to Congress when he said that William Greer never took his hands off the wheel. Remember that. And remember this: Robert Groden is not a photo analyst, has never been a photo analyst, has never been to school on any type of photography whatsoever, has no photographic credentials at all. His resume is a complete and total lie. Wake up before you're destroyed. The New World Order is right around the corner, and the men that killed John F. Kennedy are the architects of the New World Order. Goodbye. I hope that I've educated you. Please don't believe anything that I've said. Believe your own gut, your own eyes, your own research. And God bless you.